Hello everyone, and welcome to another Starcraft 2 replay. This one's going to take place on Delta Quadrant. I'm the blue Terran spawning in the bottom left-hand position. And in the top right, cross-map, we have Titus, the red Protoss opponent. And of course, Delta Quadrant being my least favorite map, and I'm actually getting it more often now that Shakur's Plateau is taken off of the ladder list. That kind of sucks. I wonder if it's because of that one little hidden space it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I kind of like that map, so I don't like having one less map that I prefer in the map pool. And Titus being well-mannered here, I didn't actually check what his race was, and he goes and tells me it's Protoss, and well, good luck, have fun. But, as we'll see later on, that good manner is it's a one-time thing. He's going to reverse that pretty quickly. So he is getting a scout in quite quickly. However, he's not going to actually spot this fast expand, which is quite good. I mean, one of the small advantages of being so far away from your ramp is that it sometimes gets missed in the scout pattern. So right now he just said, you know, LOL proxy, if he figures I'm proxy gating him somewhere, or proxy barracksing him. Barracks is a verb, sure it is. And even running down that ramp, we can see that he has no sight on my fast expand here. So one of the advantages of having one of these weird build orders is that, you know, first of all, this probe's not going to be going home to mine. He's just going to be going all over the map looking for these proxies. And at the same time, he's going to be chrono boosting out units from his gateways instead of chrono boosting probes or chrono boosting his warp gate technology. And I don't really know the math behind it, but I noticed that Protoss often don't like to build much from their gateways. They like to spend their money on getting a large gateway count and then wait until warp gate tech is done before they start pumping from the gateways themselves. Probably because the first round of units, once you get warp gates, are instantaneous. It actually gets you an army quicker. Still hunting for those. Oh wait, has he seen it? No, he still hasn't seen it. So I'm just doing my typical build order. I might start doing 4 racks no matter what versus Protoss in this map, just because it's so hard to hold this ramp. Yeah, and obviously if you scout like a 4-gate or a 3-gate robo or any sort of all-ins from the Protoss, you're going to want to get a 4th barracks as well. But this time I'm just going 3 barracks and starting my tech and my upgrades. And all these initial units he made to stop my proxy rush that never actually came is now going to be part of this attack. So he pokes his head up and he does see the bunker. So I'm actually going to bring in some more SCVs to repair. It's good to have a good number because he can use the sentries to like throw down force fields like here and here, and it can be difficult to actually repair this bunker. Doesn't mean you're dead if he does that. It just means you're probably going to have to pull SCVs and you know, make sure you don't make any mistakes in pumping from your barracks, and eventually you'll hold him off. So it looks like he's attacking my supply depot first. I do have a marine kind of blocking my repair ability, and he does force field in 2 marauders there. They're actually stacked on top of each other because of the force field. So he's able to pull them in and get the snipe, preventing me from microing them back. But I did reseal the wall. I'm not quite sure why I went after the supply depot. I guess it was the idea was to do a run by, but yeah, that didn't work out for him. And now that I'm pumping non-stop from 3 barracks, I should be okay. I think, yeah, even throwing down a 4th now that I saw him open with a rush. But since he was pumping so hard from his gateways at the beginning, he didn't actually go for a 4-gate, so he's only going to be able to pump in 2 units at a time. So that rush was not going to be able to get replenished easily. And once you reach this part of the game on any map, but especially on this one, you want to move your force to the outside of your ramp. Once you have like some units, like say maybe 8 in total, it makes more sense to be on the outside. That way they can defend the fortress more easily. They can still protect the ramp, and it prevents this choke point from actually working against you. Because if his army comes, say, like to this zone here, they can actually start picking away at, say, like your fortress, and your army will get completely cramped in this choke point if you try to engage, especially if he has a long-range unit like Colossus. So I've lost a few matches from that positioning disadvantage before, so I try to make sure that I always move these units down to the outside, and of course having my barracks queued to the same point. Protoss throwing down his expansion as well, though he is kind of late on it. Well, not late, but later than I've been. I think our SCV count should be fairly similar. Yeah, I'll bring the production tab for you as well. I know you guys like that. And looks like he's going 2 robotics facilities and getting these Colossi out quite quickly. He's actually doing a fairly good job of spending his chrono boost, better than typical Protoss I see. And going out to take his third. However, I did just happen to decide to scout that base first with my scouting factory, so I am going to spot this going down. And while he's taking his third, which for the short term is an economic hit to him, I'm just reaching my peak where I got my first 4 medevacs about to come out, I got my 1-1 upgrades complete, and ghosts on the way. So where I'm peaking, he's actually negating his army for more of an economy. So I have spotted it. I only have 1 ghost at the moment. I do have 2 more on the way, but I'm deciding just to push out now. I saw the high yield. I'm like, okay, let's just get this done. Clearing the Zelnaga first, just to make sure he doesn't have any sight on my attack. Don't want him to get positional advantage. And now I'm moving in for the attack. I was coming here to prevent the probes from running away, but it ends up walking into a pretty good zone for the Colossus. Colossus are able to move behind this ramp there. I'm going to pause this just for a moment. I think I threw down 1 EMP, probably on the gateway units. But you can notice this is a lot of Colossi, 5 Colossi. And this was supposed to be my peak, where I had the advantage, but you can see this is kind of a critical mass of Colossus, which hurts me. So how did this happen when I should have had the economic lead, and he caught him at the when he's throwing down his third base? And you can see this is from a complete lack of gateway units and no upgrades whatsoever. He's actually been double chrono boosting 2 robotics facilities. And where you do get a lot of firepower in Colossus with this, you lose all your meat shields, all the buffer of gateway units. So you can see those go down, and then without the protection, these Colossi are just going to drop like flies. So if you are a Protoss player, you got to make sure you get that mix just right. And yeah, and where I think most Protoss players don't upgrade a whole lot, my personal opinion is Protoss is probably the best race to be upgrading with, just because you can use chrono boost on it. And your upgrades, since your Protoss rarely goes for a air army, your upgrades basically affect all your units, which is pretty nice. I mean, Zerg, you're split between melee units and ranged units. Terran, you're split between air, mech, and bio. But Protoss, your upgrades affect everything. So I'm putting more reinforcements coming out from Protoss. I'm stringing up my own reinforcements as well, but I really wanted to take out this Nexus. I got down to 300 hit points, but now with only this remaining, I gotta flee. Even though it is a really good ratio, you do want 7 medevacs for every 1 Marauder. Just in case, you never know. So I'm gonna pull back, wait for maybe my next round of upgrades, and get some my Viking count up. Nice thing about not losing any medevacs in that attack is I have 9 left over, which is more than enough. So now I can spend all the time in my starport making Vikings. Oh, I queued that up perfectly with my opening little speech there. However, I did forget to re-rally my barracks, so I'm like, ah, what the hell, let's just try one more attempt to snipe this. And got through its shields again, got down to 130 hit points, but it's still alive. So close to shutting down all that economy. Looks like I'm still mismicroed, or misrallied. I got it fixed now, and pulling that last Marauder back. So I'm probably going to wait for maybe 4 or 6 Vikings, then head out once again. And I have reached 2 too, so Definite upgrade edge. He's still pumping Mass Colossus, but again, he's 0-0-0 in his upgrades. And we both have our third bases down. Just gotta work on saturating mine a little bit better. Although his is a high yield, so it should be an economic advantage for the Protoss now. Yeah, you can see he's taking in about an extra 300 minerals a minute. Not including mules, so it should be fairly even actually. Harvester got 89 harvesters. Wow, he should really take a fourth if he's going to do that many. And speak of the devil. Yeah, if you are like below platinum, I would say I can almost guarantee without seeing your games, you probably don't make enough harvesters. But 90, I gotta say that's too much. You probably want to build as many as you can non-stop until you hit around 70, 75. After that, it's just cutting too much into your army count. As you are capped at 200, he's only going to be able to have a 110 supply army. So it looks like he's making the tech switch to Psionic Storm as well. This is very common now for Diamond League Protoss players. I think they believe that, well, I think it's true as well, that Psionic Storm is a little bit better than the Colossus versus the Bioball. However, teching straight to Psi Storm, it just takes too long, leaves you too vulnerable. So it's actually a quicker tech route to get to Colossus. What they do is they go to Colossus and then slowly tech towards Psi Storm in the late game. Now I actually showed up with no EMP, which is not good. But however, it did give me the extra micro time to like take small pockets of Marauders and start sniping off the weak Colossus. So this battle turned out quite well. And that typical tech switch works well for Protoss, especially when they have a mix of both Colossus and Templars. It's just so difficult. And then obviously this is what makes Templars incredible, is this amulet. They can basically warp in storms on you. It's insane. But taking out his third here, and I did a little drop at this base as well, just a couple Marauders just to finish sniping off this Nexus. And if I ever start microing it, there we go. Now I'm going to target the Nexus down. So Protoss still has his fourth and saved most of his probes. However, I've taken out his second and third. So it looks like he's only mining from one base now. Looks like I'm only mining from one base as well, though, because I've dried up my first two. So I should be expanding myself. But I should have a definite army lead right now. Yeah, I'm maxed against a 100 supply army, which I'm sure a good portion of that is probes still. So putting down his third once more. Moving out, having Templar in his army now. But I should be in good shape just by the sheer size of my army compared to his. So a couple of decent storms, but basically nothing to follow it up. Still need somebody to clean up after the storms. And that is GG from Titus. However, after that good manner play at the beginning, he said GG, and I've said GG, and we're going to have a little conversation here, but he really has no intent to quit this game. He's kind of, well, I'm just sitting around doing nothing. He's going to be secretly building up his own army once again. I'm doing a little bit of stuff, like I come here just to clear out these pylons, just in case he doesn't quit the game, but mostly I'm just sitting around. See my APM right now is a whopping 0. And we'll speed it up some. So he's asking if my build was anti-Colossus, and I'm like, not really. I actually lose to Colossus often, but I think he was too high in his Colossus count and not enough gateway units. And watching this replay now, I can actually tell he was also didn't get the upgrade soon enough. He did go triple Forge eventually, but it was so late in the game when he did this. Coming in with another drop though. Got a good storm down, killed 9, I believe. Yeah, 9 of my SCVs. And shut down this expansion as well. So I slowly bed back here just to clean this up. I did shut down this mining expansion. And I've asked him, I didn't ask him if we're still playing on, and he's just completely kept quiet, not even saying a word. So bad manner. Like, if you're gonna, sometimes you do say GG too early, and you're like, oh, actually, you know what, maybe we should play on. At least tell your opponent you're gonna play on. This is just so wrong. So, taking his high yield. At this point, I'm finally saying it. Play on, I guess, and he's just laughing at me. However, I think I did catch sight of him moving out this way, or maybe I catch sight of it here when he attacks this command center. So what I'm going to do is try to get my ghosts between my command center and my army, and see if I can intercept them with my ghosts. One thing you notice is there is this button here called Hold Fire. It can keep you from giving away the fact that you have ghosts in the area. If you don't want them to attack and spoil your surprise. So I press that button. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Sorry, I gotta say that one more time. I didn't actually notice that they holster their weapons. Yeah, so I press the hold fire button, they holster their weapons. Now they're not going to attack any of those guys, so now I just wait and target the Templar first, and then just spread some EMPs around, and then he backs himself into a corner, which is probably not a good idea. Realizing he has no storm. And killing the remnants of his last base and his remnants of his final army. So at this point I can just take my army and steamroll his main base and end the game. But I got bad mannered, and I'm not going to take him down that way. I got a special bad manner response just for him. So since I was capped, a couple of things you want to do when you're capped and you have so much money is either throw down a lot of production facilities so you can keep attacking and replenishing your army. That way you keep your money low. Or you can do what I'm doing, which is bad manner your opponent right back at him. So I did scan his base recently, that way I just see where all his buildings are. And it was important for me to know where his buildings are actually located on the mini-map, so I knew the empty places. So you can see I'm throwing down a command center in front of his ramp. That's to Planetary Fortress wall him in. I'm going to steal his natural expansion, and while I'm at it, maybe I'll Fortress Rush him here, and here, and here, and here. Oh yeah, we got a flight of command centers we're attacking. Even got some backups left over. So you've seen my Fortress Rush response, you've seen my Fortress Rush in 2v2s, but how about the late game 7 Planetary Fortress Rush? Yes, it is time. I actually thank him for doing that stupid GG cheese, because had he not done that, I wouldn't have been allowed to do such a terrible manner ending. But come on, this is just so much fun. Oh, it's gonna be a fun one. Oh, he's got upgrades. I can't one-shot them anymore. That sucks. Still, that fortress is gonna get a lot of kills. Same time, this fortress is banging away, as is this one. 22 kills. 23. 24. And he finally leaves the game. No GG. Well, I guess you should only GG once per game, so in that way, I'll respect you for that, Titus. And with that, we'll call out the end of this replay. Thank you, everyone.
Sir, there, what's for dinner?
Alright, for today's thumbs up fact of the day, I'm going to talk a little bit about the battles with using Bioball versus Protoss, and kind of the unit combinations I use, and the micro I use within the battle. And the micro is very simple, so it's something all you guys should be able to mimic and possibly even improve on. So here we have a Colossus heavy army. This is a little bit shrunken down to what the typical battles will be, but I can tell you these two armies are similar in cost and supply count. So we got 3 Colossus with the range upgrade and charge lots. So when you get Colossus heavy army, you want to get a mix of both Medivacs and Vikings. And then you want a few ghosts for EMP, 2 or 3 of them, and then just Marines and Marauders. And you probably want to go a little bit heavier on Marauder count than usual, just because Marines get torn apart so badly by Colossus. Yeah, so basically for these battles, I always keep my ghosts on a separate hotkey. So for that, you can just box off everything and then control-click the ghosts, and then I like to set to 2, so control 2. Now I got my ghosts on 2. You can set the remainder of your army on 1 if you want. I don't actually do that, as my army is constantly growing. I find the only secure way to select my entire army is to just box off the entire thing. Otherwise, you gotta be constantly adding to your big army control group. But if you want to have, say, the rest of your army as control 1, you can just control-shift-click the ghosts to take them out of the group, and then hit control 1. And now I can see I have my army on 1 and my ghosts on 2. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Armed and ready.
So basically what I do is I box off, I tab to where stim packs are available, and then I move in for my attack move attack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack move, I'm going to stim as soon as I find the army, and then I'm going to press 2 for ghosts and start throwing down EMPs. And that's the way I micro these battles. You can also hotkey all your Vikings if you want to start focus firing these Colossus one at a time, but just having your Vikings on attack move will do pretty good focus fire in itself. So here we go. Box off. Tab first to the stim, and then attack move. And as soon as I spot his army, I'm going to press T for stim, 2 for EMP, or 2 for ghosts, and then start throwing down EMPs. And obviously his whole army's not getting involved here, but you get the general drift of how that would work out. So next we have a Protoss army that may have 1 or 2 Colossus instead of the typical 6 or 7, but it will also be heavy in Psystorm. So against an army like this, I find you're almost always going to lose straight up if I attack it in the same way. Because by the time you get your EMPs down, you'll already be eating storms, and storms are just a lot of danger for you. So I find the only way to counter this sort of army is to use cloak ghosts. So where if I don't get these Templar EMP'd, I'll somewhat lose the battles. But if I do get them EMP'd, I'll completely clean them up in these battles. So the way I make sure I get them EMP'd before they can lay the storms is I get cloak for my ghosts. And again, hotkey them to 2. And cloak them in. And now for this, I do select the rest of my army as a separate hotkey, because what I like to do is I start sending my ghosts. You can use this hold fire key so they don't give away their location. So I start moving them in, and then I'll also attack move with my army. And then switch back to my ghosts, make sure my army's a little behind, find to where the Templar are, EMP them, throw down the rest of the EMPs, hit 1, stim, and attack move. So again, you want to lead with your ghosts and have your army not too far behind. Not immediately, not with your ghosts, because you don't want them eating storm, but not so far behind that the Protoss player can just retreat and regenerate his shields. So you move in with your ghosts, find the Templar, EMP them, and then switch back to your main army and stim pack. And that's the way I deal with the Protoss army. So you can see it's pretty easy. I only use 1 hotkey.
Solo operative, right?
So my 1 hotkey is just select the ghosts and put them on 2. And then basically I just box off for the main army and 2 for the ghosts. This second method I used versus the Templar, you can actually use it versus any Protoss army if you want. It can be nice to lead with cloak ghosts and get down some good EMPs before you even start the battle. I just find the first method is so much easier to micro, and you can also use it if you're not the one initiating the attack. If the Protoss initiates attack on you, it's still just as easy to throw on the EMPs and stim. whereas this requires a little bit of pre-planning where the ghosts have to lead for the rest of your army. Anyways, I find I'm just kind of babbling at this point, so if you don't understand it, I guess you can just watch it again, because me just babbling about it without showing it's not going to help anyone. So I'm just going to end this video here. Thank you everyone, and goodbye.